In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 5 best movies starring Brad Pitt of all time. What's up, everybody? Your friendly neighborhood Tony here, and before we get started with today's ranking, I want to clarify just one thing. These movies are not my favorite Brad Pitt movies or the highest grossing or anything like that. Instead, through the power of the internet and with some very basic math, I've sorted out which movies are ranked highest by both fans and critics the world over and sorted them by average score. So, if you like Brad Pitt and you're looking for some recommendations, I got you. If that all sounds good, I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing, or at least if you just click that little like button, it really does make a massive difference. All right, without further ado, let's get started with number 5. And that is the 1995 sci-fi mystery thriller, 12 Monkeys. The screenplay for 12 Monkeys was written by David and Janet Peoples. You may not recognize those names, but David was a writer on the Clint Eastwood Western Unforgiven and on Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, so you really don't get much more iconic than that. 12 Monkeys was directed by Terry Gilliam of Monty Python fame and stars, of course, Brad Pitt, Bruce Willis, and Madeleine Stowe. In 12 Monkeys, Bruce Willis is sent back in time on a mission to gather information about a plague that would go on to wipe out most of the world's population. There, he runs into Brad Pitt's character Jeffrey Goins, who is, what's a nice way to say completely insane? I don't want to spoil too much about the movie or any of these movies, but I will say Brad Pitt really goes for it in this one. 12 Monkeys was an overall financial success at the box office, holding the #1 spot for 2 weeks before being booted by From Dusk Till Dawn. It also received a lot of positive reviews and accolades. Brad Pitt was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars, losing to Kevin Spacey though for his role in The Usual Suspects, which I'd say is fair. Brad Pitt did win the Golden Globe though, so it all worked out in the end. 12 Monkeys was a very unique and thrilling movie, although I did feel that overall the plot was a bit of a jumbled mess at times. It's still definitely worth seeing. 12 Monkeys isn't currently streaming anywhere for free that I could find, but there is a 4K Blu-ray release with a ton of great special features on it, so I'll link that below. Also, all the Blu-ray links in the description are affiliate links, so it doesn't cost you anything extra, but Amazon does give me a little kickback, which is pretty sweet. All right, next up on the list, coming in at number 4 is yet another 1995 joint, the neo-noir psychological crime thriller, Seven. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, the 90s were the best decade for movies. Let me know if you disagree with me in the comments below. Seven was written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who also wrote another movie called 8mm, which is a messed up movie starring Nicolas Cage. Directed by David Fincher, who might have another movie on this list that we'll get to later. Seven stars Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, and Gwyneth Paltrow. Seven follows 2 detectives, a rookie, played by Brad Pitt, and a vet on the verge of retirement, played by Morgan Freeman, as they hunt a serial killer who uses the 7 deadly sins as his motives. Seven received very positive reviews across the board, making a ton of money at the box office. It would actually end up being the 7th highest grossing film of 1995, which is a little fun coincidence. If you've seen the latest Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, you'll definitely notice some strong similarities between the world of Seven and the city of Gotham in that movie. Honestly, Seven really does come off to me as a super dark Batman/detective story. I actually saw recently a really fun film theory video about how Seven takes place in Gotham before Batman comes around, which I can totally see. Seven is currently streaming on Netflix, so you can check it out there. But again, if you're a physical media dude like me, I'll link you to the Blu-ray below. Seven isn't currently available on 4K, which sucks, but the Blu-ray picture and sound quality is still great, so you can't go wrong with that. Coming in at number 3 is a movie with a ridiculous cast. 2015's biographical comedy drama, The Big Short. The Big Short is based on a novel of the same name, written by Michael Lewis, and is directed by Adam McKay, who also directed a ton of movies, mainly comedies, including Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, The Other Guys, Vice, and most recently, Don't Look Up. The Big Short takes place before and during the United States mortgage market collapse of 2007 to 2008. Based on real events, it follows a group of investors that bet against the US mortgage market after realizing how flawed and flat out corrupt the entire market is. In addition to Brad Pitt, who honestly doesn't have as big of a role in this movie as you might expect, You've got Christian Bale, Stephen Carell, and Ryan Gosling, all of which are fantastic in their roles. The Big Short was fairly successful at the box office and received critical acclaim and tons of awards, including the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. You know, with a topic as number crunchy and potentially uninteresting as market values and stocks, they really did a great job of keeping the audience engaged all throughout the movie. The movie really moved with a quick, energetic pace and also did some fun things where they would break the fourth wall and explain whatever was going on right to camera, but in a fun way. They also had a few cutaways to famous figures who would fill in gaps in really entertaining ways. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean, but I don't want to spoil any of those special cutaways that they had. All in all, The Big Short is a fantastic movie that takes a serious and complicated subject and makes it just about as entertaining as you can expect, all while maintaining a level of seriousness and respect for its historical weight, if that makes sense. The Big Short is not currently streaming anywhere for free, but again, I will link the Blu-ray below. All right, we're almost done. Coming in at number 2 is another David Fincher movie, the one that I mentioned earlier, and that is the 1999 mystery and thriller / drama Fight Club. Fight Club is based on a novel written by Chuck Palahniuk, I think is how you pronounce it, and the screenplay was written by Jim Uhls, whose only other screenplay credit, oddly enough, is 2008's Jumper, which is a far cry from Fight Club. Fight Club stars Edward Norton, Brad Pitt, and Helena Bonham Carter. You also have a couple of cameos from Jared Leto and Meatloaf. Yeah, that Meatloaf is in this movie. Fight Club follows an insomniac office worker and a devil-may-care soap maker as they form an underground fight club that evolves into much, much more. Fight Club is an absolutely iconic movie, and when it was originally released, it created a ton of controversy. People debated its themes and their meanings, and also worried that it would encourage abnormally violent behavior in young men. I won't begin to pretend I know enough to say whether or not that was a legitimate concern, but to create a piece of fiction that penetrates that deeply into the public psyche is pretty incredible. Fight Club has made a ton of money over the years in both its original theatrical run and in DVD / Blu-ray sales over the years. It's also wildly critically acclaimed and currently sits at number 12 on IMDb's top 250 movies. If you want to check out Fight Club, the 10th anniversary Blu-ray is hella cheap right now, so I'll link that below for you. Okay, before we get to the very best Brad Pitt movie of all time, if you've enjoyed this video, do me a solid and hit the little like button. It actually does make a massive difference. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, consider subscribing. Coming in at number 1 is a movie you might not have expected, but the numbers don't lie, and that movie is the 2011 sports drama film Moneyball. Moneyball is based on yet another Michael Lewis book. That's right, the dude who wrote The Big Short also wrote this one, so props to him. The screenplay was written by the legendary Aaron Sorkin, who also wrote a few things you might recognize. The West Wing, The Social Network, A Few Good Men. Moneyball was not directed by Sorkin, though. Instead, Bennett Miller would take over those duties. He hasn't done a ton of directorial work, but what he has done has been pretty great. You might know him from Capote with Philip Seymour Hoffman, or Foxcatcher with Steve Carell and Channing Tatum. Moneyball stars Brad Pitt as the general manager of the Oakland A's baseball team and follows him and the team as he attempts to use an, at the time, entirely new analytics-based system to acquire new players. You've also got Jonah Hill, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Chris Pratt, Robin Wright, and a bunch of other faces and names you'll probably recognize. There are also a couple of fun cameos. You have Spike Jonze as well as Bobby Kotick, which is the CEO of Activision Blizzard. That's the company that makes World of Warcraft, for those that don't know. I'm not sure why he was in this movie, but yeah. I don't mean to be mean, but acting is not what I would consider to be one of his strengths. It's all good though. I mean, he didn't ruin the movie or anything. It was just a bit odd. I feel like I always have to qualify my opinions when it comes to sports movies too, since I don't really follow any sports at all, and I rarely watch sports movies, but this movie, it was fantastic. Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are just so great in their roles. It really does feel like they're just being themselves, which, look, I have no clue how they are in real life, but as an actor, if you can make me believe that you are your character, I think you're doing a great job. Moneyball was nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Writing, Best Sound Mixing, Best Editing, and both Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt were nominated for Best Supporting Actor and Best Actor in a Lead. And the movie was nominated for Best Picture. Unfortunately, it didn't take any of those awards home, but dang, I mean, that just feels like a clean sweep of excellence, and honestly, pretty deserving if you ask me. Moneyball is currently streaming on Hulu, and of course, available on Blu-ray, linked below. Well, that's it, my dude. I hope you found some cool movies to check out in this video. If you have any recommendations for lists that you'd like me to put together, definitely let me know in the comments below. I also have an entire playlist of all my ranking videos ready for you to go check out. You can click right on into here and jump into that. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. All right, be good.